Hola, ¿cómo está? Hola, ¿cómo está? Hola, ¿cómo está? Hey, it's Linda. You guys haven't heard from me for a long time. I know. I've been out on the streets doing my Buddhahood, serving the community, doing my community service, and loving and living people back to health, right? Loving people back to health. Being unconditional light, love, and spreading Buddhahood, which is just like Namya Haringeya, Namya Haringeya, Namya Haringeya. Buddha vibes, raising the spirit, right? Because it's all about that life force. Sometimes we forget during these times. Don't mind my background. So I was talking about all of the renouncing the materials and all those things and like getting back to basics and stuff like that. And so all of the other different backgrounds that you saw, I've been out on the streets, right? I've been on the streets with just my handy dandy book bag, doing my Christ walk, right? And practicing my Buddhahoodship. And mentoring with people, so many different people, Sabrina, hi Sabrina, Nicholas, Larry, shout out, Jessica, Jerry Lee, older Jerry, Jeffrey, who else? Drew, Nicholas, I already said Nicholas, who else? There's so many divine spiritual beings and star seeds and, time travelers and different beings that are on the streets as well, having this awakening, right? The other great activators during this time that a lot of people look at like, oh my God, they're homeless or they're hobos, but then they're starting to awake. Because really, look at this room behind me. I know it looks crazy, okay, so bear with me because I'm about to tell you guys the story, but look at it though. Doesn't it look like a jail cell, right? So when you're awakening that you're in somebody else's world and universe, you really don't want to work a job. You're pulling away from that to do your spiritual calling, right? So that means everything is going to get taken care of for you, right? A lot of people look at it like I can't really verbalize it yet or haven't really awakened or answered their spiritual calling. They look at it more like, well, isn't that like people having to take care of you? No, by no means is anyone taking care of me, because it's about good moods and good foods for me. So I have good moods and I have the good food. So the shelter just comes and goes, just like on all my other videos. Like you guys see, I'm in a nice house where I'm, visiting girlfriends that have nice homes, or the like stores or locations of different areas that I might be in or whatever at that time, traveling on my journey, on my quest, right? And now, is the synopsis for this location. This is Granny's house. They're like, what kind of house does Granny live in? Well, it's Granny's universe. So, the whole saying, Linda, listen, Linda, this grandma house. Shh, this not your house. This grandma house, right? So if I were to go buy something, right, it wouldn't be my house. Even if I'm buying it, this ain't my house. This is grandma house. This is grandma lands. So I can't be in grandma's lands trying to own it and enslave her, right? That don't make no sense. So I'm inheriting it, like you inherit the land. So you have to take care of it. You only inherit and you only get that which you can take care of. I mean, even in the scriptures, if you go by the Bibles, which I don't necessarily go by the Bibles just because they teach different things. And then since I've awakened, I've gone from the Bible to now onto Buddhahood. But now Buddhahood also we have everybody that practices everything under the sun. So I'm one with everything, right? I'm Muslim, yet I'm Christian, yet I'm Judaism. Yes, I'm all these things. I'm one with all, but yet I'm Buddhahood, because Buddhahood has existed since time without beginning. Okay. It's existed since all the religions, since all of these things, and everything became monetized. But that's the whole point, right? So we're in Granny's lands and Granny and Grandpa's lands, right? The heritage, the ancestors. And so we're sitting here trying to enslave them. And that's why if you look at the national debt, the international debt, I mean, it's crazy. It's like goes on and on and on. Like the new person that I'm working with now doing mentorship, hopefully he'll be awakening to be a co-captain on this journey at grandma's house, La Abuela's de Casa. And this is a new nonprofit that I'm working on, a 501c3. Okay. And so during my journey of meditation, it's kind of fallen into my lap, this abandoned building. And so because I don't want to pay rent, and it's working. So these are also alternatives for all my brothers and sisters that are incarcerated trying to figure out what they're going to do when they get out, right? This is another thing. Like I said, you throw making money, paying bills, and materials out your mind while you're there, and you meditate heavily about your higher purpose, activating your light codes in your DNA, and awakening and meditating. Of course, I'm going to recommend Namya Renge Ya, 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 Renge Ya, Namya Renge Ya, Namya Renge Ya, Namya Renge Ya. And of course, if you've seen What's Love Got to Do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? And I got that voice, thank you, from doing my chanting and mantra. But what's love got to do with it is when, you got a taste, a foreshadow of the mantra, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, because over 700 years ago, it was prophesied that Nam Myoho Renge Kyo would be propagated, which means widely expounded, spread widely. And so that is essentially what time it is. It's time to wake up, you guys. Oh! And so as you can tell, my life force is rejuvenated. I've become predominantly vegetarian, but I eat a lot of fish. I just actually made some stew. So I have my food card, and I just live on vegetables and fruits and oatmeal and stuff like that, things that are really good for you. And just eat very minuscule. And then I take care of, the other people that come around that, might need some assistance as I'm doing Buddhahood, right? And I'm mentoring them and helping them, leading them to the medicine, which the medicine is the meditation. Meditation is the medication. And I'm not that parent that wants to lie to them and be like, I'm going to hide you, I'm going to hide it. This is what you need to do. No, I'm going to tell you, this is your medicine and you need to take it, because otherwise you can still be having befuddlement and delusions or struggles and whatever it is, hardships, and you're not going to have any resolve. I mean, you have to have discipline. That is what meditation is. Meditation, because everybody is a leader, and Christ on his Christ walk wanted to awaken this in everybody. He wanted to awaken the spirituality of your life force, your spirituality as being a leader. You have to lead yourself. Right? Each of us have to lead ourselves, to think for yourself. So in order to be a leader, you have to be disciplined. You have to have concentration, focus. And how do you get that? You meditate. Because when you meditate, you're able to sit and concentrate. And so you're able to do things like, more disciplined. So you're not scattered and you're not, what I'm saying? Like you can't multitask. You're walking and talking to somebody and that person's just like, when are they going to hurry up? What's the point of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the point of this conversation? What was the point in this? Like, why, you know what I'm saying? You're over here like moving things like mattresses and, all these things by yourself as a female. And you're like, why are they still over there not with their bedmate? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? You feel like a drill sergeant then, right? And think about it. When I was 19, I was diagnosed as bipolar disorder, complete manic, right? Or whatever, suicidal and all these things. And now here I am, 36 years old, out on the streets, mentoring people, getting them to take the medicine in order to overcome these diagnoses, these false diagnoses, because we have fallen asleep. These things, autism, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, hearing voices, all these things are spiritual gifts, right? And they didn't want us to be aware of this, but now we're awakening. We are aware, right? And it's feeding off of these fears of us, which is why the news and the media has become the way it is. But now it's shifting. That's why I feel fearless being out on these streets, because I live faith, right? Because most people are like, oh, be careful out there, Linda. I am careful. I practice faith daily. That's why when I meditate and people are like, girl, you obsessed. And I'm like, yes, but I'm heavily protected. I have a lot of angels and orbs and guards and, spirituality. And so here I am in this abandoned building, and this opportunity has come up. La abuela's de casa, Granny's house, to turn into a 501c3 in order to house other beings on a spiritual journey, right? And so the point is, I'm turning this experience into community service, into giving back, into serving my heritage, into everything that has, preceded me. My mom, my dad, my grandmother, my grandfather, and different roots too. And I'm talking about my Spanish roots, my Asian roots, my African roots, my Middle Eastern roots, my all my roots. I have so many, right? My Irish roots, my for real. That's why my name means so many things. My European roots, right? My name in itself, Linda, if you look into it, it's Gaelic, it's Irish, it's Spanish, it's Italian, it's African. That's why, my mom named me it, right? Predominantly because I have many roots. And so in my Spanish roots, la abuela, grandma's roots, right? I have some Spanish roots. So here I am, awakening to being in grandma's lands, and I have to realize in order to inherit these lands, I have to appreciate and respect the lands and the lives that are upon it, right? And so I'm not going to enslave myself to enslave any other lives, to enslave my grandpa and my grandma and any of their heritage and my mother and my father's roots. Any of them. I don't want to enslave them. I want to free us all. And that entails awakening and providing some sort of solution, right? Some sort of rescue, some sort of refuge. And so this is what this is going to be. This first one, at first I had an idea of Operation Green Thumb, right, for a homeless shelter, but I don't want to do a homeless shelter because the reality is none of us are homeless, right? La abuela, granny, this is Granny's lands, and Granny would have anybody live happily and peacefully, freely, right? Just take care of your life, take care of other people's lives, be appreciative. You know what I'm saying? Love, live, and let live, and be cooperative. And that's essentially all it is in a nutshell. And so people that I'm working with, that I'm allowing to come into this building with me at La Abuela's de Casa, Granny's house, I've been working with Dragon. I worked with Dragon for a little bit, and he wouldn't clean up behind himself, so I kind of had to let him go, because that's kind of a simple rule. Be loving, being kind, being cooperative, right? Also, cleaning up behind yourself, no excuses, and meditation, and, awakening to your higher self. These are pretty much the basic 7. And so meditation is the only requirement. I'm not asking people to work. Actually, I'm asking you to pull away from that, because meditation is all about going within yourself. Because, if I'm truly trying to help free people, then I'm not going to enslave you, so I'm not going to work a job. And you can't follow the divine plan if you're working somebody else's job, right? This is what I've been talking about with Dragon, and now with Drew. Drew is a new person. At first, I was here with Miss Deborah. Then, I tried to throw this idea out to Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah, of course, worried about Miss Deborah. And so now things have spun drastically since I've been meditating, and now I'm in the situation in order to help other people and turn it into the grandiose idea that I've had of Granny La Abuelas de Casa, and to help as many people as possible. So I've got a few extra bedrooms, and so I'm going through this. I hopefully have found my first co-captain, Drew, and that's essentially how it will be. I kind of live by example. I meditate. Of course, I'm a sage, so not the sage. I'll let you want to call me the sage. I'm a sage, and I meditate often, but predominantly, starting off, you just warm up for the week here, and then just get your bearings and heal yourself. You can listen to other meditations, guided meditations on your phone, I advise. But just predominantly just work on healing yourself, right? Healing and purifying yourself. So healing yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. Physically would mean eating healthy, right? If you are aware that you have diabetes, you don't need to be eating too much sugar. You know what I'm saying? And plus, with me being a vegan or vegetarian predominantly, because I eat fish, you'll be able to eat. As long as you meditate, I provide all of the food here for you, as long as you meditate. So predominantly the requirements of meditation minimum is morning and evening. That's the guideline, morning and evening, if you want to be fed. But if you're going to feed yourself here, because it's the only requirements. Like if you go to Granny's house, Granny is just going to want you to take care of yourself, and usually Granny is always about food and spirituality, you know what I mean? Food and faith. And so that's what it's going to be here. That's our faith. We meditate. That's to us to go within ourselves, right? And I've had so much resolve and like so much awakening. And you heard my voice. My mind is sharp. My physical is, man, I got his mattresses. We went to, that's how the blessings come. I got me and Drew some mattresses from Salvation Army at the donation boxes for free 99. So everything is, and I've got extra clothes for people as they come in, small, medium, large, 1X, 2X, men or women's. We can get donations here and stuff like that. So this is all in the works of me turning this into a 501c3, with me getting no profit. It's all going to go straight to, turning the outside part into like little Jessica, which I'm going to quote you on this, not quote you, but shout out to you because you gave me this idea when you posted that. Whoever, shout out to Jessica, to shout out to those who you found out about those little hut shelters from, right? So that's what I'm going to do, is build some hut shelters out there and allow people to have them as their Buddha huts where they can meditate. The more you meditate, the more food you can eat anytime, any place, whatever, the longer you can stay. Okay. The less you meditate, the more you're going to have to take care of yourself, as far as like, and the less you're going to, the least amount of time you'll be able to stay here is pretty much the requirement. Because the more you meditate, the more you're going to be able to wean from other doctor's visits and medications, and it's taking care of yourself. You got to do the work. Okay. So you see everything coming into action as far as law of attraction. And so this time is ending. So I just want to go ahead and just share my current journey with you guys. I'll check in with you guys more sooner, and you guys will be able to talk to Drew on his testimonies next. Okay. But he's at work. He works at Juicy Crab, and he's slowly weaning himself from that in order to do a spiritual journey and awakening. But he has kids